Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Roll call.
Persing.
Here.
Shipman.
Here.
Reichner.
Here.
Henry. Meister.
On the approval of minutes of the Treasurer, Controller, Engineer, Code Office, Health Department, Public Works, Redevelopment Authority, and the Planning Commission. Need a motion to accept? Second?
Henry. Meister.
Yes.
Persing.
Yes.
Shipman.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes. Audience comment, any audience comment on any of the agenda items before you? Okay, I do want to, at this time, I want to give a couple special thanks to over the past 2 weekends. I don't know how many of you got a chance to go up to the Fort Augusta, and the opening that they had over there. It's just amazing. Every time you go up there, you can learn something more. They really did put a nice show. So I know Scott Heinzman's the president up there. I know there's other people involved. I don't see everybody here, but I saw a lot of you up there. That was a great show and a great day for the city. And then, of course, this weekend was Sunbury celebration, and I do want to talk about, or just mention the Park and Recreation Board. Jody Shulman, Chairwoman of the Board. Darwin Clark, Chairman of the Parks and Recreation Board. Jim Ice, Director of Public Recreation. Ron Pratt, his playground staff. Linda Hare, Jen Eister. Rick Reichner, Eric Long, Mindy Huffman, Mike Bordner, and the crew. Mark Getz and Tammy Forbes and the recreation crew, also Cheryl Belside. As you're all aware, there's a ton of work that goes into that, and you know, we're fortunate the rain doesn't come. That's something we can't control. But again, it was a great turnout. Jim, I don't know if you want to say anything in particular, but I want to make sure everybody knows.
We had the Eagles help us also,
Okay.
Mike and the boys, and everybody's enjoying effort. It was a beautiful day. Everybody enjoyed themselves. The kids loved it. Fireworks are good, so I think everybody's
happy.
Yes, for next year. Start over.
Okay, Jamie's not here. SRI update. I think Megan's here. I see Megan. There she is. Did you get any further away, Megan?
Yeah. I mean, at least I could get over to the podium.
Business Econ is still waiting for the information from the Montgomery County IDA. Hopefully that will be tomorrow morning that we'll hear about that final decision. Promotions Committee is doing those discount cards for the downtown, and Hill Neighborhood has a lot going on. They just finished the second Rain Barrel Workshop, finalized that grant, which is entitled the REN grant, and they're also working on finalizing the Elm Street program in its entirety, and working on the 1,200 block street scheme grant. There's a meeting regarding that to get the ball rolling on that. Membership is distributing welcome bags to new members. We're glad to have a great number of new members this year, and they've also made a decision to give a complimentary first year SRI membership to new city businesses. Businesses in the community want to give a complimentary membership that actually get involved. Riverfront Planning is working really hard on the Lake Augusta Renaissance Festival. It'll be 12 to 6 on August 30th. The entry fee is $5 for adults, $3 for children, from many types of games, competitions, entertainment for all ages. So there'll be sword fighting and throwing weapon competitions. I mean, some of them are actually for the public to engage in, and then there will also be ones that will be held by the host, our partners with the event, SCA, the Educational Stadiums, and they will be actually doing a lot of presentations so people can enjoy those. And there will be a medieval piece of all that will be a ticketed event. Those are public talks. Okay, there'll be a procession on Sunday at the end of the day at 6 p.m. down to the Alps. The Lake Augusta Wine and Brew Festival is also going really well. Tickets are now on sale at Rivers Outlet. And it was held 2 to 6 p.m. on September 20th. Okay. We have our bands chosen. We're just waiting to sign off on the contract with them. Mark is researching many new ideas, feasibility studies, and et cetera, to see what we might be able to initiate next in the city. And the Albright Center Council has very big news in that the deed has been signed transferring the Albright Center from the United Methodist Church to Sunbury Revitalization. So that is, there will be a lot of press on that very soon. Any questions for me? Any activities? You want to group best, 1,000? Yes. Last year it was 500. We do allow some extra local tickets, so that's on any hard tickets. So
Any questions? Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Redevelopment Authority update. Just met not too long ago. Just wanted to go through a couple of these. Well, Brianna's going to go through some we want to make nuisance properties, but I do want to mention that 139, 141 Church Street, that's going to be demolished. We put that up for bids the last time we had an auction, and we didn't get anywhere. I think we got one person to bid on it. It was determined that that building's coming down, so the people live in that neighborhood, 139, 141 Church. We'll see about that here in the next month or so. Why don't you just mention the ones, well, I guess it's a resolution, we're going to pass these ones, so we'll go.
Sure. We have 6 properties that we've identified that need to be declared a public nuisance at this time. And I'll just read those addresses off. 149 Church Street, 314 South 3rd Street, 218 North Front Street, 128, 130 North 11th Street, 912, 914 Court Street, and 416, 418 Chestnut Street. I just need a motion to pass our resolution that we will declare those properties a public nuisance so that we can move forward to remedy the situation.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Ister.
Yes.
Persing.
Yes.
Shipman.
Yes.
Reichner.
Yes.
Henry.
Well, under new business, the resolution increasing commercial code fees, we're just going to talk about that a little bit today?
Yeah, basically, right now, we're charging per unit on mechanical, plumbing, and electrical, instead of the actual cost of the operation, and we're leaving a lot of money on the table that we would be collecting if it was based on the fees for the cost of the project, rather than, like, somebody could put a big unit in someplace and pay $8 to have it put in. It's a per unit cost. That's what we're looking at. It's like everybody to review this. NEIC, which is the company that does our commercial inspections, brought this to my attention on 2 major projects that was going on in the city. We're correct. There was another project that we did with the same value, that the one that was $50, the other one was like almost $400. So we just like the board to review this, and if you have any questions, I have the workout that John gave me from NEIC, and we can go over this and show you what's going on, and just vote on that at our next meeting.
Well, I'd like to take and see what you're proposing here, what the old values were.
Basically, the old value per unit, $8 per unit. Like if,
I know what you said there, but is that for the plumbing, mechanical, electrical, just $8 each one?
no, $8 if you put, and this isn't probably a good ad, but if you could put in, say, 4 receptacles and you pay $32, but the job was actually $1,500 to do all that work. So that's what John explained. And John was at the meeting. John Shipman was at the meeting I was at, we, at least I feel that we're missing the boat here. That, and I have the permits downstairs that we can review forward. And, you know, you can see where we're coming from on this, just so we can vote on that at the next meeting.
Well, I think everybody should know values.
Yeah, we need to get that.
Okay.
The old system is sort of archaic in that you charge per receptacle or per light fixture or per plumbing fixture and so forth, which really has no relevance to the job you're doing other than, you know, and the code has been revised. Many of the local communities in the area and throughout northeastern Pennsylvania that they service have gone to the new NEIC program whereby it's just based on the dollar amount. You don't have to go in and say, okay, how many receptacle you're putting in there, you know, how much this or that.
I can appreciate that.
Yes, it's a whole lot simpler.
Okay. The two projects that we reviewed, one was a $150,000 project that paid $75 for. Another one was a $134,000 project and they paid $50
So this will just bring us more in line with surrounding communities.
It will, and it only applies to commercial.
Residential doesn't change a little bit, it's commercial. It's like John said, it was kind of archaic per unit or per piece or whatever, and the dollar value just was exorbitant, unbelievable. When I was reviewing the permits, I thought there was something had to be wrong because we had a stack of blueprints in there that thick and $150,000 project and permits for $75 for
All right, so we'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting. If anybody has any questions, you can stop down and see Rick. Hard approval, Rick.
Mike, I'm going to defer to you on that.
Okay. The Harbor Committee had met, looked over a project at 724 Market Street. The gentleman is looking to reconstruct his porch on the side of the property. The reason why that Harb wanted to review this is because the porch can be viewed from Market Street heading east up to the hill. And they found the project being in line with all of our city ordinances and construction codes and approved. Waiting for your approval.
I'd like to make that motion that we approve this.
Persing?
Yes.
Shipman?
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Henry? Eister?
Approval of pay invoices, John.
All right, thank you. We have $70,864.42 worth of general fund bills that need to be paid, and $7,902.78 for the liquid fuels fund that need to be paid. And I make a motion that we approve those bills for payment.
Just one quick comment, Dale is doing a nice job on the curbs.
Thank Mike.
Yeah, it's coordinated.
I know you did, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Shipman?
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Reichner?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Eister? Persing?
Yes. Tax exoneration, John.
We have quite a few, not a lot of dollar amount, but we have quite a few, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this month. A lot of them were duplicate billings. I don't know how that happened. A couple of deceased, and I make a motion that we exonerate the individuals from paying customary.
Second.
Reichner?
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Eister? Persing?
Yes.
Shipman? Shipman?
Yes.
I do want to mention one other thing, and that is at last meeting, we talked about the car vehicle cleanup. There was 34 vehicles that were cited this week that have been given notice to take to abandoned properties or ordinance. The police department did that, so you'll be hearing, if you have one of them, you'll be hearing from either the police department or the code office in the very near future as we continue to improve the city of Sunbury and our neighborhood.
I'd like to say also, if anybody has, or knows of any vehicles, call the office and we will look into it, if already have it. We went through over 50 vehicles in our last week.
Audience comment. Any specific audience comment? Yes, sir.
Yes, Robert Burlingham. It was brought to my attention that down Fullerton, down on the far east side of the sidewalk that would be put in there. One of the residents there, an older lady, she had talked to me, said that the sidewalks are cracking out there. I don't know, I haven't been down there, but out by her place, and the curbing is breaking off. I just want to bring it to your attention.
You don't have an idea of the address?
No, it'd be about like from Haas up, about 4 doors up, if you were coming back.
Towards town, towards Market Street, towards town.
Yeah, towards town, right.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Dave Whipple, Sunbury. I was out driving around last night, as I do with Wises, and every now and then I look for lights around the city. Between Market Street and Front Street, we have over 53 lights out. That's a little weird, because one block doesn't have any lights at all anymore. Between 3rd and 4th on the north side, there's not a light on that street. They're all not working. They have been for over a year. The ones that hasn't been working now, none are working. Where the church is on Front Street, those lights have been out for 3 weeks, all the way up through there. I don't know why we have such a problem with our lighting in the city of Sunbury. We want to brighten things up so that the city looks presentable, but yet nothing's getting done.
We have that issue on Market Street sometimes too, there's whole blocks that go out at a time. I don't know what the cause of it is.
But the ones that have been out for 5 years, I'm here in town, the ones that between 3rd and 4th, they've never worked since I'm here. Now there's none on that block, on that side of the street.
We'll check to make sure there's a
Mr. Whipple, I got the list today. The ones on Front Street was already corrected. I had a phone call.
Were they corrected since yesterday?
Pardon?
They corrected since last night?
Since 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you though for,
You know, we want the city to look decent. You've got your projects coming up here.
no, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time, that it saves us, and the list has been passed on, and it'll be starting on tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank you though.
There was one back here. Go ahead.
Stephanie Sterner.
Yes.
I live on Court Street where it ends in the 1100 block. There are 3 lights out on that block, which means there's no lighting at all for us, and it's a one-way street in that section. There is also a gaping pothole just past the one condemned property. Getting through there safely during the day is difficult, but getting through there at night is nearly impossible. There have been reports by my neighbors done to PP&L because when my neighbor called the city about it, they said it was PP&L's responsibility for the street lighting, but there has not been a response.
Okay.
And
That's
that
the 1100 block of Court Street, you said?
yes, and that block has increased in occupancy in the last few months.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, I just wondered if there was any response yet from Phillips when he was here about the lighting. They were talking about the street lights whenever he was in. There was never, that he ever came back on that?
To install different new street lighting?
For, yeah, for different street lighting. We talked about the solar lighting.
Phillips never did come back. I know the night that you gave the presentation, when you thought tomorrow morning there'd be an issue with lights and doing this, they never really fulfilled their commitment, you might say. We did discuss it after the fact. They never come back. Phillips.
Yeah, but I was wondering about the solar lights because they do work. It's safe to see.
We were talking LED lights.
Right, but I brought it up to him when he was here about the solar lights, because a lot of cities now are using the solar lights and they're putting them in, and they're getting good results with them.
A lot of cities switching to LEDs. You know that. I was just at a seminar and a lot of switching to solar, more parking lots than street light.
Woodbridge, New Jersey, all Colonial down there, all their street lights are solar. You know, that's why I went back and I did some information, because my dad lives down there. And I talked to the mayor down there, I talked to the other public officials that were down there, and got in contact with them. And they hadn't had any problem with them, and, you know, they've been working good. So, you know, it was just something for thought to be thrown out there.
Okay? Yes, sir.
I'm Terrence Foster. Last year, officers assaulted me. And I'm wondering how I would go about getting some compensation and making sure these officers are disciplined.
Two police officers assaulted you in broad daylight?
Yeah, well, it was on the verge of getting dark.
I would suggest you go find yourself, get your lawyer and do what you have to do. I have no answer for it. I don't actually believe you, so without seeing the facts. You give me some dates, I'll see if there's an incident report.
That was June 6th. They actually filed charges.
Of that last year, a year ago, 2013?
June 6th, 2015. They filed charges against me to try to cover it up, but of course the judge let those charges out. So
Well,
it's-
again, you're welcome to seek legal counsel. I will check at least on that date, to see if there's anything recorded.
And also, I'm concerned with police shooting people recently around here, and the fact that there are police officers who've done this to me. I'm really concerned about this. And I think whenever a police officer does commit a crime, I think they should be prosecuted just the same else would. I don't know how you feel about that.
They are.
Because I haven't seen any action against them yet at all. So, and,
About them assaulting you?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know what else you want to tell you. I'd love to see if there's a date. So why did you wait a year to come talk with us?
Well, I had to deal with the charges they filed against me. And I actually, the former police chief said he had some kind of plan in place to deal with this. He never told me what the plan was. So I was kind of counting on him or something.
You say the former chief said he had a plan in place.
Yeah, he said, I think his wording was, he had, I forget what it was, they had a plan in place, so I remember.
Are you a city resident?
Yes,
Do you live where?
Fairmont Avenue.
When were the charges against you dismissed?
December.
December.
No, I think it was actually earlier than that. Last time I went to work or something, but it was December. I think I actually missed it on.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Regina Russell, I'm just making a comment because I think this is just saying comments and not a discussion from the audience. I was here at one meeting and there was a discussion about the homeowner on 4th Street that has several discs on the house for her tenants. And at that time, Mr. Mayor, you had said that there was nothing the city would be able to do about that. And I had just wanted to give you some information that when the person is ordering the service, they can request that the disc be put on the roof. Otherwise, the technicians come and they'll place the disc to the lowest or the easiest location that they can. So that's just information for you to hopefully work with.
That's when they
because-
install.
Yes, because if you're improving the appearance of the city, passing that house right there looks like it's something from outer space.
Well, I know Mayor Woodring tried very hard to get them off. The problem is, once people move, they don't take them down.
No, they
We haven't
don't.
found a way to get them off. the
It's their
property.
private property once the service is
I don't
cut
know what
off
that
and
would
moved. That's what I've been told, that it's now your property, and so it's up to you to have it removed. But if before they install it, if you make that request, they will place it out of sight.
The property owner makes that request, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Greg Saxton. Three different things I'm going to touch on. Last week, the city of Sunbury police officers was held to shoot a suspect. Had the surveillance cameras in Sunbury been placed properly at every entrance to the city, there would have been more than a fair chance the entire incident would have been caught on camera. That is if the cameras were functional and could also be accessed by the city. I'm not commenting on the details of the shooting, but rather commenting on the lack of support the police department in Sunbury receives. There's a known gang presence as well as a serious drug problem. And the current administration has refused to add officers, particularly detectives, that would have the ability to investigate and bring the drug and gang problems under control, or hopefully end them. The current administration has sought numerous ways to reduce the police department budget, inclusive of having the police department continue to use worn-out patrol cars when they should be replaced. Recently, the police chief of Sunbury was replaced with an interim chief. Now, because of the shooting incident, there is an interim chief. The current administration failed to act prudently when replacing Chief Mazzio. The prudent course of action by the administration would have been to choose a new chief before demoting the old one. And all the things that I've mentioned signal to the criminal element in the area that the Sunbury Police Department is in a state of disarray. Thus, in criminals' minds, Sunbury is a place to commit crime. I would hope that playing politics with the position of chief of police of Sunbury will stop and a decision on a permanent chief can be made and get on with the business of moving Sunbury forward. The Celtex site continues to be a huge question in many city and area residents' minds. The current city administration told me in these chambers they would set up a meeting with Mr. Reitner and myself. However, this has not happened. To date, the meeting has not been held because I've been told by the administration that they just cannot get all of the individuals they want to attend the proposed meeting. I must conclude after many months that the administration does not intend to hold the meeting as they stated they would. Activity at the site continues, but the city is not answering questions or discussing their lack of code enforcement concerning the site. Minuteman Environmental has been charged with illegal dumping at other locations and has been on the Celtex site. That site already being a brownfield with arsenic contamination for more than a year. Minuteman operated there without code enforcement and city oversight. And the question is, did Minuteman dump on a regulated material on the site? How will we know that the city knows or doesn't know what has been done there? The administration has refused to admit that they have the responsibility to oversee code on the site by attempting to place the onus on Northumberland County. In a letter dated May 31, 2013, the right-to-know officer of Northumberland County, Janet Pavish, states, and I quote, "As you state in your email, these are land development and subdivision codes of the city of Sunbury, not the county of Northumberland. As such, the duty to enforce the same lies with the city. This letter was generated concerning a memorandum of understanding between the Northumberland County Conservation District and the city of Sunbury, dated 3/12/2012. I would appreciate you arranging the meeting that I was told would occur concerning a former Celtex site. And since so much time has passed since my meeting request, a much larger file has been assembled that the city should prepare for a longer meeting, possibly several hours. And I would request that I bring as many people as the city brings to that meeting. I know that you wanted to have some experts and other people there. The fill being hauled into the former Celtex site should be stopped immediately, as that fill is from other sources as well as the city. And the city should contact the EPA for a thorough investigation and examination of the site. I would ask you to please start to protect the city and area by admitting to and executing the responsibilities the voters of the city entrusted to you when they elected you. And in conclusion, last thing I want to touch on is I was at a meeting here last month, and one of the people in attendance, a Northumberland County employee, his behavior was certainly unacceptable. Mr. Gordon Lamb was crudely verbally assaulted by that individual without one objection from the city council. Council has a responsibility to maintain civility and decorum, which they sorely failed to do. I implore the council to execute those responsibilities they have been elected to carry out, and that includes to maintain order and decorum in the audience gallery. Thank you.
Mr. Saxon, I have a question.
Yes.
When was Minuteman on that site?
I'd have to look the dates up exactly. I couldn't tell you from the top of my head.
Would it be fair to say that they had abandoned that site by the end of last December?
I would say you're probably accurate.
Yeah, I suggest you talk to your good friend who is the former, and partner, who is the former code enforcement officer, because he probably has all the answers.
Well, you're referring to Mr. Bartello, and I don't believe Mr. Bartello does. Unfortunately, when Mr. Bartello tried to take action and get to the bottom of that, he was removed from his position, and I believe Mr. Troop took over. Mr. Bartello, there are numerous letters from Mr. Bartello asking that the site be closed until investigation could be conducted and they could see what was on the site, what was happening, what was going on. In hindsight, we now have Minuteman having been indicted for all these illegal activities, so truly we can't be sure what has happened on that site. As you know, probably there are underground seepage pits that were used by Celotex to handle stormwater runoff. I have no idea what has been done with those seepage pits. I don't believe anyone knows whether they were employed for some type of illegal disposal. I'm not saying that was done. I'm saying that is a possibility on the site, and there are other possibilities that we have discovered now just in the physical plant of that property that could also be a real problem to the city. So that's why I'm asking you to take a very definitive action to once and for all see what has been done.
Mr. Saxon, I already took over the personnel issues because there's personnel issues all over. I did not take over the department, just the personnel.
Well, I understand that, Mr.
I
Troop.
said I took over the department. I just took over the personnel because of the problems that were between the director and the personnel.
Okay, thank you for your,
No, David, Mr. Saxon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Roughly 5 meetings ago, you accused me of making a statement regarding WP Wall. You gave me a copy of what you were referring to. Nowhere in there says that I made a statement that the WP Wall was inspected. Am I correct?
I don't have that document with me. I'll take a look at that and we'll discuss it.
Here you are.
What you said, Mr. Iser, was you asked Ms. Brocious not to paint a picture that if the wall gets high, that the city will flood when it is not true. Okay.
Okay, that's not what you accused me of, though. Keep going.
Mr. Snyder said the federal government certified the flood wall in 2011 while there were unrepaired blowouts in the wall. So if the wall was certified with the blowouts, it is safe to say there is no reason to scare anyone. The current hole is no bigger than what was there in the past. Now, what you tried to say, Mr. Iser, was,
Now, don't tell me what I tried to say. I know exactly what is said there.
okay, I read what it says.
Okay, just say that again, read that again.
Mr. Snyder said,
Now, back